There are dreams that aren't born from mere will, but from the very fiber of the soul. Dreams that, during seasons of bitter scarcity, become the only banquet a hungry heart can truly savor. Today, I invite you to leave the noise of the modern world behind and walk with me through the mist-covered Ozark Mountains, back to a time when life was as hard as the flint rock underfoot, but love was as vast as the twilight horizon. Before we begin this journey of unwavering faith and raw courage, I invite you to join our community. Subscribe to the channel so that more stories like this, stories that remind us of what it means to be human, can find their way to your heart. The air of the Ozark Mountains in the 1930s carried the scent of damp earth and a crushing poverty that asked no permission to stay. It clung to the wooden walls of cabins, to worn boots, to every breath of every soul trying to survive. For young Billy Coleman, the Great Depression was not a headline. It was the deep calluses on his father's hands, the careful way his mother folded the same patched dress, and the hunger that often arrived before sleep. Yet deep within him, a fire was burning, the dog wanting disease. It was not a childish wish. It was a physical ache, a hollow place in his chest that only the baying of a hound could fill. Each night Billy lay awake in his loft, staring at the cracked beams above him, listening to the distant, haunting echoes of the neighbors' hunting dogs. Their voices traveled through the hills and wrapped themselves around his heart. He carried that longing through fields, through creek beds, through silent evenings watching the sun sink behind the mountains. Sometimes he would press his hand against his chest, as if the future itself were knocking from the inside. He began to understand that some dreams do not come to us, they choose us. When he saw the tired exchange in his parents' eyes, he knew the truth: they barely had enough cornmeal for the week. 2 pedigree red-bone coonhounds were an impossible luxury. But impossibility did not discourage him. It sharpened him. That was the moment Billy learned his first sacred lesson. Destiny is not a gift you wait for, it is a garden you cultivate with your own blood. He found an old baking powder tin hidden behind the barn. That piece of forgotten metal became his altar. He did not pray for miracles. He offered effort. He whispered to himself at dawn, "This is where my life begins." Maturity often arrives long before we are ready to greet it. For Billy, it arrived with blistered hands and aching bones. For 2 unforgiving years he became a shadow of effort. While other boys chased laughter, Billy chased possibility. He picked blackberries until his fingers bled purple. He trapped rats. He sold bait, chopped wood, carried sacks of grain, denied himself every small comfort childhood normally holds sacred. There were mornings when his body begged for rest, but his soul demanded continuation. He learned that discipline is not the absence of fatigue, it is obedience to purpose in spite of it. Every coin that fell into that tin was a piece of childhood exchanged for destiny. Some nights he counted them again and again, just to make sure hope was still breathing. There were days the tin felt unbearably light, the future impossibly far. But when he stared at his scarred hands, he saw not weakness, but tools, instruments of becoming. He was not just saving money. He was building a man. When the final penny was earned, the road to the train depot felt like a holy procession. Each step thundered in his chest. And then he saw them. 2 trembling puppies in a wooden crate. One bold as fire. One soft as prayer. Old Dan and little Ann. The moment Billy touched their fur, his knees weakened and tears broke free. It was not only joy. It was belonging. He felt the universe whisper, "You kept your promise." In that instant he understood, responsibility is the highest honor a human can receive. He was no longer just a boy chasing a dream. He was now a guardian, a leader, a brother to the wild. Training was not instruction, it was communion. In the fog-heavy bottoms of the Cherokee River, the 3 became one spirit. Old Dan was raw strength, unyielding heart. Little Ann was luminous intelligence, a whisper of instinct that untangled invisible trails. Billy learned the forest's grammar, the language of wind, water, patience, and silence. With every hunt, Billy felt himself being reshaped. The forest was no longer just a place, it was a teacher. He began to sense danger before it appeared, to trust the rhythm of his breath and the wisdom of stillness. Often he would pause beneath towering oaks, feeling the earth pulse under his boots, knowing that something sacred was unfolding in him. He discovered that great challenges do not exist to break us, but to reveal the architecture of our souls. Each night beneath the stars, they practiced radical trust. To lead, Billy learned, one must first be willing to serve. Then came the winter championship. The blizzard descended like judgment. Breath froze. Courage trembled. The mountains vanished beneath walls of white. Many hunters surrendered, their spirits bent by the storm. But Billy's hounds did not. He watched old Dan freeze in place rather than abandon the trail, his muscles shaking but his eyes burning with resolve. He saw Little Ann press her body against her partner, sharing her warmth without hesitation. Billy felt the storm claw at his own soul, but he refused to turn back. In that night of ice and wind, Billy learned that love is not a feeling, it is a decision to remain when every instinct cries to flee. They won the gold, but the greater prize was something eternal, unbreakable devotion forged in suffering. The mountain lion arrived like death itself. Billy stood frozen before the embodiment of terror, the beast's eyes glowing with hunger and ancient rage. The forest fell silent, as if holding its breath. Then, without hesitation, his dogs placed themselves between him and the claws of destruction. Their growls shattered the night. The struggle erupted in fury, snow, blood, breath, and fear colliding in violent chaos. Billy screamed, helpless, watching love wage war against death. When the silence finally returned, Billy's heart was broken open. He knew the meaning of loyalty. No love is greater than to lay down one's life for another. They saved him, but old Dan's wounds were too deep for this world. The mountains mourned. The days that followed were wrapped in unbearable quiet. Little Ann wandered the hills, her spirit unraveling without her partner. Her eyes searched every shadow for him. When she finally curled beside Dan's grave and surrendered to stillness, Billy's world collapsed. He questioned God. He questioned the purpose of every sacrifice. His chest ached with a grief too large for words. But his parents, steady and gentle, showed him a deeper truth. Scars are not failures, they are medals of love. And though his heart shattered, it was breaking open into something stronger. Between the two graves, a miracle rose. A red fern. Its leaves glowed with quiet life, standing where nothing should have grown. Billy knelt before it, trembling. Legend whispered that only angels could plant such a fern, and that it would never die. He pressed his hand to the earth, feeling a peace he could not explain. The universe was answering his grief. Nothing truly loved is ever lost. Some bonds simply change their shape, becoming part of the wind, the soil, the sky, and the heart. Years later, Billy would look back on those mountains and finally understand. The Great Depression was not a season of lack, but of abundance of spirit. The dogs were his greatest teachers. They taught him courage, loyalty, sacrifice, and faith when life offers no guarantees. They taught him how to stand when the storm comes and how to love without conditions. Success, he learned, is not the destination. It is the man you become along the way. And in the quiet moments of his life, Billy still felt the presence of the red fern growing in the gardens of his memory.